Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Relationships. Let's dive into something many of you have likely experienced. That sudden message, call, or DM from someone you thought you were done with. It could be an ex who left things unresolved, a friend who disappeared when you needed them most, or even someone who's been silent for years, and now they've reached out. Here's the real struggle. What do you do? Do you reply, risking old wounds being reopened? Or do you keep ignoring them, wondering if you're missing an opportunity for closure or connection? It's an uncomfortable space to be in, isn't it? On the one hand, there's the temptation to engage, maybe out of curiosity or lingering emotions. On the other, there's the fear of falling back into the same patterns, of reopening doors you worked so hard to close. That internal tug-of-war can leave you feeling unsettled, frustrated, and unsure of what the right choice really is. Let me ask you this. Have you ever answered a message in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? Maybe you've found yourself replaying the conversation in your head, wishing you had handled it differently. These moments can make you feel like you've lost control, like someone else is dictating your emotions and decisions. But here's the truth. You have more power than you think. The decision to respond, or not, doesn't have to come from impulse or emotion. It can come from a place of clarity, strength, and alignment with your values. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote is at the heart of what we're discussing today. You can't control why they've reached out or what their intentions are, but you can control how you respond. And that response starts with understanding your own needs, boundaries, and emotional state. In today's video, we'll explore a framework for handling these situations with wisdom and grace. We'll break down the steps you can take to pause before reacting, reflect on why they're reaching out, and evaluate whether engaging serves your peace or disrupts it. We'll also discuss the balance between forgiveness and boundaries, and how choosing detachment can help you reclaim your power. This isn't about playing games or proving a point. It's about staying true to yourself, no matter what, because at the end of the day, the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. So stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to navigate these moments with confidence and composure. Let's get started. Number 1, pause before you react. Hey folks, let's start with the most important first step when someone reaches out unexpectedly. Pause before you react. I know, it sounds simple, right? But in moments like this, when emotions run high and memories start flooding back, it's easy to let your feelings take over. Maybe it's excitement, anger, confusion, or even longing, whatever the emotion. It can lead to impulsive reactions that you might regret later. That's why taking a pause is so crucial. Let me ask you this. How many times have you responded to someone in the heat of the moment, only to wish you had handled it differently? Maybe you fired off a quick reply out of frustration or curiosity, only to feel like you gave away your power. This is exactly what Stoicism teaches us to avoid. As Marcus Aurelius said, you always have the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. When someone reaches out, the pause gives you space to reflect. Why are they reaching out now? What are they looking for? And, most importantly, how do you truly feel about hearing from them? These are questions you can only answer if you give yourself time to process. Without the pause, you risk reacting out of habit, emotion, or even guilt, rather than responding from a place of intention and clarity. Here's the thing. Pausing isn't about ignoring them or delaying the inevitable. It's about regaining control over the situation and your emotions. It allows you to step back and assess what's really going on, both externally and internally. For example, if you're feeling overwhelmed by their message, it's okay to take a deep breath. Walk away and come back to it later when you're in a calmer state of mind. The pause helps you regain perspective and ensures that whatever decision you make is aligned with your values. Now, let's dig deeper into why this is so important. When you respond impulsively, you're often letting the other person dictate your emotional state. Their sudden appearance in your life triggers a reaction, and suddenly, they're in control. But when you pause, you're reclaiming that power. You're saying, "I decide how and when to engage, not them." This shift in mindset can make all the difference in how you handle the situation. Let's put this into practice. Imagine you get a message from someone you haven't heard from in months, maybe an ex or a friend who ghosted you. Your first instinct might be to reply immediately, either to satisfy your curiosity or to express your frustration. But instead, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, how does this message make me feel? Am I in the right emotional state to respond? What do I want to achieve by replying? If anything, this moment of reflection gives you the clarity to decide whether engaging with them is worth your time and energy. Maybe you realize that you're still angry or hurt, and responding now would only reopen old wounds. Or perhaps you see that their message doesn't align with the boundaries you've set for yourself. Whatever the case, the pause helps you approach the situation with intention rather than emotion. Pausing also allows you to prepare for the possibility that their reasons for reaching out may not be as genuine as they seem. Are they reaching out because they miss you or because they want something from you? Are they apologizing or trying to test your boundaries? Without pausing, you might overlook these crucial questions and fall into a pattern that you've worked hard to move past. Here's a challenge for you. Stoic friends. The next time someone reaches out unexpectedly, commit to pausing before you respond. Take a deep breath, step away from your phone, and give yourself time to reflect. Even just 5 minutes can make a huge difference in how you approach the situation. And remember, pausing doesn't mean ignoring or avoiding. It simply means creating space to think clearly. When you take this step, you're not just protecting yourself from impulsive reactions. You're setting the tone for how the rest of the interaction will unfold. Before we move on, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I choose to pause." Write it down as a reminder that you always have the power to respond with intention, no matter how unexpected the situation may be. Let's continue this journey, Stoic friends, and explore the next step. Understanding why they're reaching out. Stick with me. This is where we start to uncover the deeper motivations behind their actions. Number 2, why are they reaching out? Hey folks, let's tackle the next big question. Why are they reaching out? When someone you haven't heard from in weeks, months, or even years suddenly contacts you, it can stir up a lot of emotions. But instead of letting those feelings take over, the key is to step back and think critically about their motives. Why now? What do they want? And more importantly, does responding align with your well-being and values? Let me ask you this. What's the first thing you think when someone unexpectedly reaches out? Maybe you feel a spark of hope, thinking they've realized your value. Or maybe you feel suspicious, wondering if they want something from you. These reactions are natural, but they're not enough to guide your decision. To act with clarity and intention, you need to go deeper. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you jump to conclusions without examining the facts, you risk letting your assumptions, not reality, shape your decisions. So, what might their true intentions be? There are several common reasons someone might reach out. One possibility is that they genuinely miss you. Perhaps they've had time to reflect and realize they took your presence for granted. If this is the case, Their message might feel open, heartfelt, or apologetic. But even then, it's worth asking, why now? Are they reaching out because they've changed, or because they're seeking comfort during a vulnerable moment? Another reason could be guilt. They might feel bad about how they treated you, or regret the way things ended. And their message is an attempt to ease their conscience. While this might seem like an opportunity for closure, you have to ask yourself, is this about genuine reconciliation, or is it about them feeling better about themselves? If it's the latter, engaging might reopen old wounds without offering anything meaningful. Sometimes, their outreach might be purely transactional. Maybe they need help, validation, or even a distraction from their current circumstances. These messages often feel vague or self-serving, a casual, "Hey, how's it going?" with no real substance. In these cases, their intentions might not align with your need for peace or boundaries. Now, let's flip the perspective and talk about your role in this equation. Why do their intentions matter so much? Understanding their motives isn't about judging or controlling them. It's about protecting your energy and making sure your response aligns with your growth. Whether their outreach comes from a genuine place or not, your well-being should always come first. Here's how you can assess their motives without overthinking. Start by looking at the context of their message. Are they acknowledging past mistakes or expressing sincere interest in reconnecting? Or does their message feel vague, as if they're testing the waters without offering much substance? Timing is another important factor. Are they reaching out during a period of change or difficulty in their life? If so, their motives might be more about their needs than about you. But let's take this a step further. Does their outreach serve your current goals, boundaries, and emotional state? Maybe they're reaching out because they miss you, but that doesn't mean you're obligated to engage. If responding disrupts the progress you've made or stirs up old pain, it's okay to choose silence. Remember, you're not responsible for managing their emotions. You're responsible for protecting your peace. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who ghosted you months ago suddenly sends you a message. They don't acknowledge the silence or explain their reasons for reaching out. It's just a casual, "Hey, how are you?" Instead of jumping to conclusions or responding impulsively, take a moment to reflect. What does their message say about their intentions? And more importantly, how do you feel about engaging? These are the questions that help you stay grounded and intentional. Here's a practical challenge for you. Stoic friends, the next time someone reaches out unexpectedly, take 5 minutes to reflect on their possible motives. Don't respond immediately. Instead, ask yourself, what do they want? And does engaging align with my values? Drop a comment below with the phrase, "I choose clarity." Write it as a reminder that understanding their motives isn't about them. It's about you. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our growing Stoic community. We're here to help you navigate relationships, emotions, and life with timeless wisdom and intentional growth. Stick with me, folks, because in the next section, we'll dive into something just as important. Why your emotional state matters just as much as their intentions. Let's keep this journey going together. Number 3, your emotional state matters. Hey folks, welcome back. Now that we've talked about pausing before you react and understanding why they might be reaching out, let's dive into something equally important. Your emotional state. Because here's the thing, no matter why they're reaching out or what their intentions are, your response will always be shaped by how you're feeling in that moment. And if your emotions are running high, it's almost impossible to make a clear, grounded decision. Let me ask you this. How often do you respond to situations based purely on emotion? Maybe it's anger, sadness, or even nostalgia. These emotions can cloud your judgment, making you act impulsively or in ways you might regret later. Stoicism teaches us that emotional awareness is the foundation of intentional action. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom is critical when deciding how to handle someone's unexpected outreach. The first step in managing your emotional state is awareness. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Are you angry, hurt, or excited? There's no right or wrong answer. The goal is simply to identify your emotions so you can work with them instead of being controlled by them. Once you've identified how you feel, take a moment to reflect. Why are you feeling this way? Are you reacting to the person reaching out? Or is something else contributing to your emotional state? Often, their message triggers unresolved feelings that might not even be directly about them. Recognizing this allows you to separate your past emotions from the current situation. Pausing to reflect helps you avoid reacting impulsively. Let's say their message stirs up old wounds or unresolved conflicts. Instead of sending a reply out of anger or frustration, give yourself time to process. Journaling can be an effective way to organize your thoughts and emotions before deciding how to respond. This process helps you approach the situation with clarity and composure. A clear mind leads to better choices, and better choices lead to peace. It's also important to remember that your emotional state is deeply connected to your boundaries. When you're feeling vulnerable, it's easier for someone to push those boundaries without you realizing it. That's why taking time to ground yourself before responding is so essential. Grounding techniques like deep breathing, meditating, or even going for a walk can help you regain control over your thoughts and emotions. But here's a key point, Stoic friends. Managing your emotional state doesn't mean suppressing how you feel. Emotions are natural, and they're there to guide you. Anger might be telling you that your boundaries were violated. Sadness might remind you of what's important to you. Nostalgia might help you reflect on meaningful moments. The goal isn't to ignore these emotions. It's to understand them and channel them in ways that align with your values. For example, if you're feeling hurt, take it as an opportunity to reinforce your boundaries and protect your peace. If you're feeling hopeful, use that energy to approach the situation with caution and self-respect. Remember, emotions aren't your enemy. They're tools for growth when you approach them with awareness. Let's take a practical example. Imagine someone who ghosted you months ago suddenly sends a message. Your initial emotional reaction might range from anger to curiosity. But instead of replying immediately, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve with a response? Is it closure, validation, or genuine connection? Taking the time to answer these questions ensures that your response, if you choose to respond, comes from a place of clarity, not emotional impulse. Finally, Stoicism reminds us that while we can't always control our emotions, we can control how we respond to them. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." What? When you recognize your emotions and take intentional steps to manage them, you reclaim your power and make choices aligned with your values. Here's a challenge for you, Stoic friends. The next time someone reaches out, take 5 minutes to check in with your emotional state before responding. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? And how is that influencing my thoughts? Drop a comment below with the phrase, "I choose awareness." Let it serve as a reminder that self-awareness is the key to responding with clarity and strength. And if you're finding value in this journey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our growing Stoic community. Together, we're learning how to master our emotions, relationships, and lives with timeless wisdom. Stay with me, folks, because in the next section, we'll explore whether silence is still your best answer. This is where things get really interesting, so don't miss it. Number 4. Is silence still your best answer? Stoic friends, let's dive into an important question. Is silence still your best answer when someone reaches out? For many of us, ignoring someone feels like the safest option. It helps protect our peace, set boundaries, and avoid reopening old wounds. But is silence always the best choice? Let's explore when it works in your favor and when it might hold you back. Silence is powerful. It sends a clear message. I'm in control of my emotions, and I won't engage in unhealthy dynamics. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Choosing silence allows you to maintain that power, especially when dealing with someone who's hurt or disrespected you in the past. By not responding, you're setting a firm boundary, showing that you won't let their actions disrupt your emotional balance. But here's the truth. Silence isn't always the right move. It's important to ask yourself, why am I staying silent? If your silence serves to protect your peace and reinforce your boundaries, it's a valid choice. But if it's rooted in avoidance or fear of confrontation, it might not truly align with your long-term well-being. Consider this. What if the person reaching out is genuinely remorseful? What if their message includes accountability or an effort to repair the relationship? Ignoring them in such cases could leave unresolved emotions for both sides. Timing plays a critical role as well. Are they reaching out during a vulnerable moment for you? If so, silence might be the best option to give yourself space to process your emotions. Responding impulsively or while feeling emotionally unstable can lead to decisions you might regret. On the other hand, if you feel grounded and their message seems sincere, breaking the silence with a brief, intentional response could bring closure or clarity. Let's think about this scenario. Someone who ghosted you months ago suddenly sends a vague, "Hey, how are you?" It's natural to feel annoyed or confused by such a message. In cases like this, silence is often the best response. It protects your energy and sends a message that their lack of effort doesn't deserve your attention. However, if their message shows genuine accountability and effort, you might consider whether engaging could help you close that chapter, not for their sake, but for your own peace of mind. Stoicism teaches us to act with clarity and purpose. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If silence aligns with your values and emotional health, it's a deliberate and empowering choice. But if it's preventing you from resolving internal conflicts or addressing unresolved feelings, it's worth reconsidering whether staying silent is truly serving you. To help you decide, try this exercise. Write down the potential outcomes of staying silent versus responding. What do you hope to achieve in each scenario? If silence protects your peace and maintains your boundaries, it's likely the best choice. But if engaging could bring closure or allow you to express your boundaries directly, consider crafting a thoughtful reply. The key is to ensure that whatever choice you make aligns with your emotional well-being. Let's also discuss the concept of boundaries. Silence can be a powerful boundary, but it's not the same as shutting people out entirely. Boundaries protect your energy while still allowing room for personal growth. Sometimes, breaking the silence, when done intentionally, can lead to healing, understanding, or even closure. It's not about letting someone back into your life, but rather about ending things on your terms. Here's an important reminder. Silence should come from a place of strength, not avoidance. If you're choosing not to respond because you're afraid of confrontation or uncomfortable emotions, it's worth examining whether silence is holding you back from growth. Stoicism encourages us to face challenges with courage and intention, using each experience as an opportunity to learn and grow. Let's solidify this with a challenge. Stoic friends, the next time someone reaches out, pause and ask yourself, is silence still the best answer for me? Drop a comment below with the phrase, I choose clarity. Let this serve as a reminder to act with intention and protect your peace, whether through silence or thoughtful engagement. And if these insights resonate with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our growing Stoic community. Together, we're mastering the art of navigating life's challenges with wisdom, strength, and clarity. Stick around, because in the next section, we'll discuss how to respond without losing your ground. This is where you'll learn how to maintain your boundaries while engaging confidently. Let's keep going. Stoic friends, there's much more to uncover. Number 5. Responding without losing ground. Stoic friends, let's talk about one of the trickiest challenges. How do you respond to someone who has reached out without losing your ground? It's easy to feel torn between wanting to address the situation and wanting to protect your boundaries. But with a Stoic approach, you can navigate this situation without compromising your values or peace. Let's break it down together. The first and most important step in responding is to pause and reflect. When someone reaches out, especially after a period of silence, your emotions might spike. You may feel confusion, anger, curiosity, or even nostalgia. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a step back. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By pausing, you give yourself the space to assess your emotional state and decide on a response that aligns with your values. Start by asking yourself some key questions. Why are they reaching out? What are they hoping to achieve? And more importantly, what do you want from this interaction? Their message could range from vague and casual, like, hey, how have you been? To something more meaningful, such as an apology or an effort to reconnect. Understanding their intent can help you craft a response that maintains your boundaries and purpose. When you decide to respond, clarity is your best ally. Your reply doesn't have to be long or emotional. In fact, keeping it concise can help you stay in control. For example, if you're not interested in reopening communication, a polite but firm response like, thank you for reaching out, but I've moved on and wish you well, sets a boundary while remaining respectful. On the other hand, if their message includes a sincere apology, you could respond with something like, I appreciate your apology, but I need time to process. I'll reach out if I'm ready to continue this conversation. This gives you the power to decide the pace of the interaction. One of the most important things to avoid is being drawn into emotional traps. Some people might reach out with manipulative or vague messages designed to provoke a reaction. For instance, a message like, I've been thinking about you a lot lately, might trigger feelings of obligation or guilt. But here's the truth. You're not responsible for their emotions. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, does this message serve my peace? If not, you're under no obligation to reply. Silence can sometimes be the most powerful response, especially when engaging would disrupt your emotional progress. Let's talk about tone. Responding without losing ground means choosing your words carefully. Keep your tone neutral, respectful, and clear. Even if their message stirs up strong emotions, avoid letting that show in your response. Stoicism teaches us self-mastery, and part of that is controlling how we communicate. A calm, measured reply shows strength and protects your peace, regardless of how they might react. Another key aspect of responding is setting limits. Just because you reply doesn't mean you have to continue a conversation indefinitely. If their response veers into topics you're not comfortable discussing, it's okay to end the conversation politely. For example, you might say, I appreciate you reaching out, but I'm not ready to discuss this further. Setting boundaries within a conversation is just as important as deciding whether to respond in the first place. Now, let's address a common fear: the fear of appearing weak by responding. The truth is, responding thoughtfully isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It shows that you're in control of your emotions and decisions. What matters most is that your response aligns with your values and priorities, not theirs. Here's a practical tip. Stoic friends, before replying, write down your thoughts. Journaling can help you clarify what you want to say and why. It also allows you to process your emotions without reacting impulsively. Whether you decide to respond or remain silent, make sure your choice is intentional and reflects your inner peace. Let's wrap this up with a challenge. The next time someone reaches out, pause and ask yourself, what response aligns with my values? Drop a comment below with the phrase, I choose intention. Let this remind you that every response or lack of one should come from a place of strength and clarity. And if these insights resonate, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our growing Stoic community. Together, we're mastering how to navigate life's challenges with wisdom, clarity, and confidence. Stay tuned, because next, we'll explore the balance between forgiveness and boundaries. It's a deep topic you won't want to miss. Let's keep growing together, Stoic friends. Number 6. The balance between forgiveness and boundaries. Stoic friends, let's dive into one of the most delicate aspects of relationships. How do you find the balance between forgiveness and maintaining your boundaries? Forgiving someone can feel liberating, but it can also leave you questioning whether you're compromising your values or setting yourself up for repeated hurt. Let's explore how Stoicism can guide us through this tricky balance. Forgiveness is a powerful act. It's not about excusing someone's behavior or forgetting the harm they caused. Instead, it's about freeing yourself from the emotional weight of resentment. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is to be unlike your enemy. When you forgive, you release the anger or bitterness that ties you to the situation. This act of letting go is not about them, it's about you. It's a choice to reclaim your emotional peace. But here's the catch. Forgiveness without boundaries can lead to a cycle of repeated hurt. Boundaries are your way of saying, I value myself enough to protect my energy and well-being. Epictetus wisely said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Forgiving someone doesn't mean giving them unrestricted access to your life. It means acknowledging the past, letting go of resentment, and deciding how or if they fit into your future. So, how do you balance forgiveness with boundaries? It starts with clarity. Ask yourself, why am I choosing to forgive? If your goal is to heal and move forward, forgiveness can be an empowering step. But if it's motivated by guilt or pressure, it might not serve your growth. Forgiveness should never come at the expense of your well-being or values. It's okay to forgive someone in your heart without reopening the door to the relationship. Next, let's talk about what boundaries look like in the context of forgiveness. Imagine someone who has consistently disrespected your time or emotions, apologizes, and asks for another chance. Forgiveness might mean acknowledging their apology and letting go of anger, but boundaries mean setting limits on how they can interact with you moving forward. For example, you could say, I appreciate your apology, but I'm not ready to rebuild the relationship right now. This response shows forgiveness while reinforcing your boundaries. It's also important to recognize that forgiveness doesn't have to happen overnight. Some wounds take time to heal, and that's okay. Stoicism teaches us the value of patience and reflection. Take the time to process your emotions and evaluate whether forgiveness aligns with your personal growth. Forgiving too quickly, without truly addressing your feelings, can lead to unresolved emotions resurfacing later. Another key aspect of balancing forgiveness and boundaries is understanding the other person's intentions. Are they apologizing out of genuine remorse, or are they trying to ease their own guilt? If their actions don't align with their words, it's a sign that your boundaries should remain firm. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to ignore red flags or accept behaviors that don't respect your values. Let's take a practical example. Suppose someone from your past reaches out with a heartfelt apology. They express regret for their actions and acknowledge the hurt they caused. Forgiveness in this case might involve letting go of resentment and acknowledging their effort to make amends. However, boundaries could mean deciding not to rekindle the relationship or setting clear limits on the level of interaction you're comfortable with. It's about creating a dynamic that protects your peace while allowing room for healing. Now, let's address a common concern. Does setting boundaries mean I haven't truly forgiven them? Not at all. Forgiveness is about emotional release, while boundaries are about protecting your well-being. The two can coexist. In fact, boundaries are a form of self-respect, and respecting yourself is crucial for maintaining inner peace. Here's a challenge. Stoic friends, the next time you're faced with the decision to forgive, ask yourself, what boundaries do I need to maintain while letting go of resentment? Drop a comment below with the phrase, forgive, but protect. Let this be a reminder that forgiveness and boundaries can go hand in hand, empowering you to heal without compromising your values. And if you're finding value in these insights, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our growing Stoic community. Together, we're mastering how to navigate relationships with wisdom, clarity, and strength. Stay tuned, because in the next section, we'll explore the power of choosing detachment. This is where we'll discuss how to free yourself from emotional entanglements and reclaim your peace. Let's keep growing together, Stoic friends. Number 7. The power of choosing detachment. Stoic friends. Let's dive into one of the most liberating practices in Stoicism, the power of choosing detachment. At first glance, detachment might sound like indifference, but it's far from that. Detachment isn't about cutting off your emotions or relationships. It's about freeing yourself from unnecessary attachments that disrupt your peace and cloud your judgment. Let's explore how embracing detachment can transform the way you navigate life's challenges. Detachment begins with understanding what you can and cannot control. Epictetus famously said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." When you cling too tightly to outcomes, people, or circumstances beyond your control, you set yourself up for disappointment and frustration. Detachment, on the other hand, allows you to step back, evaluate the situation objectively, and focus your energy on what truly matters. Let's be clear, detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It's about shifting your perspective. Instead of tying your happiness to external factors, like someone's approval or a specific result, you find peace within yourself. For example, if someone you deeply care about pulls away, detachment doesn't mean you stop valuing them. It means accepting their choices without letting those choices define your sense of worth. Choosing detachment also empowers you to respond, rather than react. When emotions run high, it's easy to react impulsively, sending a text you might regret later or engaging in a heated argument. Detachment creates space for reflection. It allows you to pause and ask, what response aligns with my values? By focusing on your inner calm, you can act with clarity and intention, regardless of external pressures. A key part of detachment is learning to let go of past hurts. Holding on to resentment or grudges only weighs you down. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this. and you will find strength. Detachment helps you release the emotional baggage that keeps you tied to painful memories or unresolved conflicts. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means processing them, learning from them, and moving forward without carrying the weight of the past. Detachment also plays a crucial role in relationships. It's natural to want to feel connected to others, but when those connections turn into dependence or control, they can become unhealthy. Detachment allows you to love and support people without losing yourself in the process. It's the balance of being fully present while knowing that your happiness doesn't rely solely on their actions or approval. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you've been waiting for someone to apologize for something they did. You might feel stuck, unable to move on until they acknowledge their actions. Detachment helps you break free from this cycle. Instead of waiting for their apology, you accept the situation for what it is. You let go of the need for external validation and focus on your own healing. This doesn't mean you condone their behavior. It means you're choosing peace over control. Detachment is also incredibly freeing when it comes to expectations. How often do we set ourselves up for disappointment by clinging to how we think things should be? Detachment allows you to embrace what is, rather than what you wish it to be. This mindset shift can be life-changing. Instead of feeling frustrated when plans don't go your way, you adapt. Instead of feeling crushed when someone doesn't meet your expectations, you accept their limitations and adjust your perspective. So, how do you practice detachment? Start by identifying the areas where you feel overly attached. Is it a person, a goal, or a specific outcome? Ask yourself, why am I holding on so tightly? What would happen if I let go? Journaling can be a helpful tool for exploring these questions and gaining clarity. Another practical tip is to focus on gratitude. Detachment doesn't mean distancing yourself from joy. It means appreciating the present moment without clinging to it. By practicing gratitude for what you have, you shift your focus from what's missing to what's abundant in your life. Lastly, remind yourself that detachment is a skill that takes practice. It's not about becoming emotionless. It's about finding balance. It's about caring deeply while staying grounded. The more you practice detachment, the more resilient and centered you'll become. Remember, Stoic friends, detachment isn't about giving up. It's about letting go of what doesn't serve your peace. It's about choosing freedom over attachment, clarity over confusion, and growth over stagnation. Thank you for joining me today, Stoic friends. Navigating these complexities of relationships and inner peace isn't always easy, but embracing Stoic principles can guide us toward clarity and strength. Remember, every choice you make, whether it's forgiveness, setting boundaries, or practicing detachment, is an opportunity to align with your values and protect your peace. If you found value in today's video, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Relationships and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future insights. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you're applying these lessons in your life. Until next time, keep striving for wisdom, stay grounded, and remember, you are in control of your journey. Take care, Stoic friends.